keep a fishing log for a couple of reasons. One is really simple. It's almost sentimental. It's really cool to be able to go back and see what I was doing in 1974. That I'm catching mackerel off the beach in the Sound. When was the last time there were mackerel in the Sound? I can't even remember. But I can look back in my logs and see that that's what I was doing back then. So it's kind of neat in that respect to be able to go back, even in the winter, go back and relive some of the stuff that you've done. So that's one reason. For a more functional reason is, I almost think of fishing as a big science project. I mean, I do work in a scientific environment, so I think this way sometimes. If you think about fishing, what a good fisherman does is he experiments, which is he goes to the shore and tries different things, and he observes. So he tries something and then he sees what happens. All right, so a big part of this is the observations that a fisherman makes. Well, observations, years and years worth, this is very valuable information, and it's all worthless if you can't remember any of these observations. So if you watch a scientist work, they do an experiment, they see something, they don't just sit back and go, oh, that was interesting, and then just move on to something else. No, they take detailed notes about what they just did. And I'm not saying I need to take detailed notes about the fishing, but I need to write down what I did. Where did I go? What was the tide, the wind? What did I catch? And all of this kind of stuff, because over time, I'm not going to be able to remember it. So I need some way of storing these observations and being able to pull it back years later and somehow pull it all together. I kept notebook-based fishing logs for many years, and these are great because I've got a pile of notebooks that have all of my fishing trips, and I can go back and see what I did. But with time, this pile gets bigger and bigger, and it creates a problem. And actually, there's two problems. One is it takes a fair amount of effort to do a written entry. And to me, the most important time to be logging is when there's a bite going on. But this is the most difficult time to be logging. What happens? You go out, you hit fish at night, and you go to work the next day, and you get home, you do what you need to do, and you scramble to get back out there, and then you go to work the next day. And when do you find the time to sit down and write out what happened? So what do? You say, well, I'm going to do it tomorrow. And then, well, I'll do it tomorrow, and I'll do it tomorrow. And before you know it, you just had a week's worth of fishing, and you haven't written a single thing. But now you're going to sit down and you're going to remember what you just did, and you're going to write it down. No, you'll do that, but it's not going to be all that accurate. You just can't hold it all together. So that was a source of frustration for me, was that it takes some effort to do a written log. The other thing was, all right, now I've got this pile of notebooks. And one of the ways that I like to use a log is to say, okay, what was I doing at a certain time? Or, for example, let's say it's late April. Well, you know what? I can think back and go, okay, late April. Well, I remember I went out to Cutchogue one year, and the first 9 casts of the season, I had 9 bass. All right. Well, when was that? Was that the 27th or was that the 17th? And while the tide was going out, I remember that. Was that the beginning of the outgoing or the end of the outgoing? I can't remember. And was that like a really strong outgoing? Was that near a full moon? I don't remember all of these details. All right, so I can go look it up because I've recorded it. But guess what? I don't remember what year that was. It was in the early 2000s. All right, so I'll pull out, a bunch of notebooks, and I'm going to flip through the pages and find that Cutchogue trip. There's got to be an easier way from both of these things. I want to make the log entry easier, and I want to be able to find that log entry easier. Just, this seems simple. So what I did was I realized you need a computer program to do this. So, all right, I'm going to buy one. Somebody has surely written something I can use to do this. So I go online and I poke around, and I even install and try a couple of them. They have free installation, give it a try. And I would happily pay. Most of these were 40 or 50 bucks, so who cares? I'll give them the 50 bucks if this makes my life easier. And I just didn't like any of the log programs. Now, for a living, I write experiment control software at Brookhaven Lab, and I do everything from machine control all the way up to the user interface. So I take a complex experiment and I present it to the user in a way that makes it easy for them. So if I can do that, writing a fishing log program, I don't want to say it's child's play, because it's not. But this is something I can do almost for fun, and it's a long winter. I have the time. So I sat down and I decided I'm going to just write my own log program. I can do this. And yeah, sometimes when you do a project, usually it takes longer than you thought it was going to take. And this turned out to be something that was in the opposite direction. Within maybe 6 weeks, I had something that was pretty good. And boy, I could make, log entries really easy. And I was smart about it in that I would let the program learn where I fish. Once I fish a place, okay, good. This is now one of the drop downs in the program. If I use a certain lure, this becomes one of the drop downs. So it kind of learns what kind of fish you catch, where you fish, what lures you use. And even when you make a new log entry, it knows what you did the last trip, because there's a good chance you might be doing the same thing the next trip. So the defaults try to anticipate what it is you're doing. This makes the data entry so much easier. And plus, everything is drop downs. You hardly type anything. You have to type your comments in. But other than that, everything is drop downs. And then even stuff like sunrise, sunset, moon phase, it's all automatically calculated. There's no reason to look it up. The program knows what to do. So all of this built in makes the entry very easy. So I said, okay, this is great. I bet other people might use this. So I had 4 friends use it for a fishing season while I used it. And with the thought that, all right, maybe I'll sell this thing, but I need others to use it. I need what's called beta testing. So I let them use it, and they were all like, hey, this is great. And then 2 of them said, but wow, now you have all of this information in a database. Why don't you provide analysis tools? And I was like, I'm not going to provide, I don't want to do that. And then they harped on me enough that I said, the following winter came, and again, boredom sets in. I'm like, well, all right, let me see what I can do with this. And again, in a short period of time, I had analysis tools, and they could be what I thought was important, which is a lot of averaging. For example, show me average pounds of striped bass per trip for all of my locations. Things like this, or for certain wind directions. And I was able to come up with a lot of easily customizable queries to mine all of that data in the log. So now it even went beyond what I expected. I had the ease of entry, I had analysis tools, but really one of the most important things was, instead of searching through a pile of notebooks, I can just click on the columns of information in the program and sort on locations, wind directions, and so forth. So if I want to see what it is I do in a particular location, I click on the top of the column. There's all of my trips. I can scroll through them, see the dates, and it's just so easy to go back and find what I need. And it's worked out very well. One of the most important things about a fishing log is, to me, it's really priceless data. I mean, this is something that, I'm not logging this for 2 years or 5 years. I want this to be around 10 years, 15 years from now. So I had to take that into consideration when I made technology decisions. So I programmed it in Java, which results in a program that's operating system independent, which means Microsoft goes and upgrades their Windows, but this doesn't matter to me because the program was written in Java. And this enables me to, when I compile my program, it actually runs on Macs, Linux systems, and Windows systems. And this has been done so that I know that years and years down the road, this program is going to be around. And this is one of the reasons that a lot of people have asked me, oh, why don't you do something for the iPhone? Or why don't you do something for my Droid? And the answer is that at this time, I don't have any confidence that log entries that I make now are going to be around 5 years, 10 years from now. That technology is just changing too fast. There's too many different operating systems. To me, number one, this has to be longevity. This log needs to be around. So right now, this is all stuff that I run on my laptop, on regular computers. It's not going to be smartphone based yet. One of the things I wanted to be able to do with this program is be able to update my log from different locations. For example, I can do log entries on my desktop, or I can do them on my laptop or some other computer. And I've worked out the licensing of the program so that you can install this on 3 different computers without putting off any bells and whistles. And what this enables me to do is use cloud storage for the database. So what happens is I've installed it on 3 different computers, and now if I have my laptop and I make a log entry into my fishing log and I go home and I look at my desktop, there's my log entry. And this is nice because it also backs up the data. So the ability to be able to interact with my log from multiple locations is something that's really worked out nice. And I've used this by using a free cloud service called Dropbox. There's other ones out there, and that's worked very well for me. As I mentioned, I wrote the program originally for myself, and after that I saw that it was useful for other people. I said, okay, I'm going to figure out some way to market this, but I'm not going to charge a lot of money. I didn't want to charge $40 or $50 like some of the other programs that I saw online. So I've set the price at $20, and what you can do is go on fisherslog.com. You can learn about the program, download it, install it, play with it a bit. You have a 1-week free trial period, and if you like it, then you can buy it for $20, and it's a one-time fee, lifetime updates, and that's all there is to it. And when you're on the website, you can look at videos that I've made of using the program, so you can look at all of the features and know how to use it even before you install it and get a good feel for the program.